Hi, and welcome to the Your Startup Partner channel. I'm Lee, I'm founder of Your Startup Partner, and here is the business of content creation. So today I'm going to be talking to you about how do you get revenue from your content. We see tons of content being created, but the platforms are free. People don't have to pay to see it. So what's the plan? How do you make money from it? So we're going to do that right now. So first of all, a lot of the platforms do have a partner program. So for example, you could be a YouTube partner, a Twitch partner, and the idea behind it is that as you get more popular and you get more followers and thereby create more traffic for them, you get paid for that. And so there are some criteria for getting into the partner programs that you can generate money from. For example, on YouTube, you have to have at least 1,000 followers and at least 4,000 views across the space of a 12-month period. There are quite a few conditions and you can go through them, but ultimately YouTube help you access some of the revenue from the adverts, yep, them things, in between your videos. So that's one of the prime ways that YouTube or Twitch give you revenue. The next way is that on both of the platforms, they have some kind of membership or subscription service. So for example, on YouTube, you can subscribe to a video. I suggest you do that down here below, but subscription doesn't tend to cost you anything. You can subscribe for free, but you can also create memberships. So you can create a space where people who follow your content and want to interact more with you come into a different area. So quite a few people have these membership groups where you can get access to other lives, for example. So it's content that won't go out onto the main platform and the main channel. As you grow your following, there might be some things that you want to give a backstory on, or you want to kind of show the behind the scenes. And so the membership area is perfect for that. What it also helps you do is cultivate that community. So cultivate people who want to support you in your work. On something like Twitch, it's slightly different. So on Twitch, your subscription is a paid for revenue. So you'll see, sub to me, sub to me, sub to me. Lots of content creators will do subathons or will have sub goals. So the incentive is to pay the small amount of money to go through and get to be part of your community. Now on Twitch, there isn't necessarily that sub only content, but it may be that you can only chat. So only subs can chat through, maybe they watch your content and your chat coming through a bit more. So from the content creator side, you're still connecting with the audience and you're still there with them interacting, but the subscription shows you that they want to have your content. So followers on Twitch equals subscription on YouTube, and subscriptions on Twitch is joining a membership on YouTube. So probably the next way of making revenue that most people know of is the whole hashtag ad, right? So it's this idea that as you get popular, brands will reach out to you and say, hey, can you talk about our product? Normally they try to use things that your community would be particularly interested in. They've checked the demographic of the people that watch your content and therefore think that that's a useful way to get to the people that they want to sell to. Now, it depends. I know some content creators who don't like going down that route because unless they use something themselves, they don't want to necessarily endorse something. However, as a revenue generation, it's a really easy one. You get the product or the service, you talk about it, and you get paid by them. The amount that you get paid really differs between content creators because it is really based on the size of the audience that they're going to reach and your levels of engagement with your audience. Having more followers is not always effective to do ad sponsorship, because if your audience doesn't engage with you, they may not listen to you when you say, hey, buy this thing. What's really common on something like Twitch, for example, is the promoted streams. So if a game gets released, the game will sponsor the particular gamer to play it. Again, should be really related to the type of content that they usually do. Otherwise, the audience gets a bit confused. But If you're a big streamer, you can start generating some pretty significant revenue by having promotional streams. So these are all the ways that you can make money directly from your content and on the platforms. But I think everyone is aware that there are multiple other ways because of your visibility. Once you've got a following and people are watching you, they don't just watch your content, they watch your interactions on other social media platforms. So even if you're a YouTube streamer or a Twitch streamer, you may find that you also can access other type of sponsorship deals through your Twitter or through your Instagram as well, because your following follows you there. So the more platforms you're on, the more engaged you can be with your audience, the more opportunities to make more ad revenue. The one that I think most people are sort of most aware of is things like merch. So having drops. So drops are literally where you create a product of some description and sell it. Now, if you follow, for example, gaming streamers, they typically will have things like hoodies and t-shirts and baseball caps, and sometimes they do coins and just lots of little products ranging from quite expensive to quite small so that everyone can join in. It's usually connected with their character or their avatar on their content. There will be a theme to it. Now, there's two ways that the content creators will work. Some of them will put up merch and it will be there forever. So they'll do a drop, they'll launch some new products, but they leave everything on, maybe then having a sale or, you know, getting rid of some of the older stuff eventually. But the shop, it remains open all the time. Others do drops, and particularly limited edition drops. So they'll make something available for a very short space of time. And I'm going to go into that in another video because the thinking behind the two approaches is quite interesting and I think would make a really good topic. So again, merch is one of those ways that you're generating revenue, but as always, you have to create the community first. There are content creators with millions of followers who still don't feel confident that their followers would appreciate a merch drop or make it worth their while, because it's not free to do them. They have to invest some money to be able to get the merch created. So they're not going to do it unless they absolutely know they'll hit a certain volume. That's another way for them to make money, but there's an investment there. So it makes good business sense, but it's not as easy as the other ways to make money as a content creator. As they get even more popular and as you get more well-known, you may get things like personal appearance fees. It's not usually typical at, you know, VidCon or TwitchCon or those type of events to get paid to go there, because it's in your interest as a content creator to be accessible to your community. But you may get other opportunities where, again, you would get an appearance fee. So you build your community, you get that visibility, and then it opens up all these other doors to the type of revenue that you want to be able to get. One of the things that you need to bear in mind is that the level of revenue is going to be way more varied than a simple, oh, if you get this many followers, you'll get this much revenue. It doesn't really work like that. Some content creators find that their followers love merch. They love to pay extra. Others really don't want to. They are watching your content and they're supporting you, but they're more comfortable to say, well, hey, I'll join or I'll follow or subscribe so that you get the ad revenue that comes through automatically. They don't necessarily want to go any further than that. So it's really difficult to calculate how much money you could make from this. What we do know is the more you put in, the more you get out. So the more you're constantly thinking of other ways to expand your community and offer content and offer value, the more value you and revenue you will get back in. There is a balance though. I think a lot of content creators can get into this trap of over commercializing what they do. So whether it's because they have content and they have the community built up and they think, oh, well, I can do anything now. That's not the case. Your community has to be constantly curated. So even if you've got millions of followers, you have to still continue to interact with them to keep them supporting, because typically, as much as they go up really quickly, they can go down really quickly. And a community scorned is a powerful thing. If a community turns against you, you can drop everything. Again, another topic to another video. Take away from today this: when you're thinking of your content, have a think about what does that look like from a revenue perspective. Do you want your content to be something that draws people in and you're going to be comfortable without revenue? Do you want to have additional revenue streams, books, videos, public appearances, merch, all of those other things? If you do, it's a slightly different strategy. And most importantly, it's a different communication with your community. What we see time and again is a content creator, as they're kind of on their way up, they have these principles and values that they're never going to do sponsors or they're never going to do promotions, and then change their mind, which they're absolutely open to do. Problem is, the community holds them to it. So if you have those kind of principles, you have to really think through, am I happy to continue with that? Does that feel the right thing to do? Think of it before you go too far, so that you understand what messaging your community will support. And if you do want to change that messaging and you do want to commercialize more of what you're doing, that you know that the comms for that has to start really early. My general rule is that it's better to be open and honest with your community. So don't pretend to be something you're not. Don't pretend that you're never going to take sponsorship if you think you will. Never say never. Make sure that you always keep options open. And sometimes it can be helpful to explain your principles, explain your thinking to the community, so that if you do change your mind, it doesn't feel like you're going away from your central message or away from your original content. It just feels a natural progression. If you've done that with your community and they want to follow you, they'll follow you, and potentially you'll make a living out of it. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.